Good morning, it's your girl Jessie Jobson, and today is December 27th, 2019. It's the day after the 26th new moon and eclipse and all this energy that's still going on, and I woke up with the urge and the desire to share a message with you guys. So, of course, you guys are getting ready with me again. That seems to be like the theme these days, and that's okay. Maybe you like getting ready with me. So, but, so there I've been hearing from others and just intuitively syncing with the message that obviously this 2020 is bringing a new stage of energy. It's also going to bring a lot of new things into our life. It's going to be new adventures for most people. It's going to be just, new. And we've been hearing that and blah, 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 right? But the thing that I think that is important, that I feel like is like a resounding message across the board that I'm hearing, is that we are going to be experiencing, it's going to be like, we're going to go on these new journeys, right? But it's not going to be like this instantaneous thing that we like, oh my God, my life is completely different. 2020 hits and boom, everything's like different, right? And I don't think any of us really expected that, but I think that we are like just so ready, right? Like, I mean, I can speak for myself and say that I am so ready for the change. I'm so ready for the new mission, if that's what you want to call it. I'm just ready for all of that newness that the angels have been like promoting and speaking of, and I think collectively everybody's been like just feeling like there's a newness coming, and I've just been so ready. But I don't think that it's going to happen quite like that. Like, I think it's going to be more of I don't even know the analogy. I want to say like a hike up a mountain, but I feel like I've used a mountain analogy last time, so I'm not going to. But we are gonna experience our changes like you guys have all been. It's like you can see the changes like kind of almost starting anyways in our lives. So all that's like kind of occurring already, but you need to just relax into it and let it be little things that you change to here and there to like make this big overall shift, right? And so I guess I could just speak for myself. So mine, obviously, my big thing is like I've been waiting for my writing to like kind of like take off in some way, right? And in 2019 I did so much work, and I finished 2 books. It was amazing. And then I was just like waiting towards the end of the year for something to like big to happen, for them to like take off, a publisher to pick them up, blah, 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 whatever, right? And none of that occurred. And like, it kind of like was like not startling, but like I was like, okay, what do I do now? Right? And so like the message, the end of this year was like, okay, just relax, just sit back, sit tight, just, don't do anything. Like stop spinning your wheels, because it's not going to get you anywhere. And now the angels are like having that message again, that now is the time to start spinning the wheels, but not in that old way, right? Not in the old way that we used to, where you're spinning your wheels and it feels like you're running 5 miles an hour, or 5 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, and you're going nowhere. Like, you're literally like at walking speed, right? Like, it's like you're working so hard, but nothing is like happening. So I think that was kind of the end of last year's like point of us like stopping what we were doing to like relax and heal and all that stuff, was so that we could realize like, hey, like, first off, get rid of your guilt, get rid of the guilty feeling that you have of like, being so busy and not putting everything in the right buckets, you know, because you have to fill all your buckets, not just one bucket. So it wasn't just writing that's important for me, or working, or my kids, or my family. It's like everything, you have to put a little bit in each bucket. So this downtime, the end of this year, really gave us the opportunity to do that, right? It gave us the opportunity to like sit back and say, okay, like I still am feeling like this new like energy, or this new phase of my life is really important, and I really want to be doing it, and it really fills me up. But obviously all these other areas need me too. So when it's time for us to jump back into things, I feel like this new year will be like slow and steady wins the race, right? It's not a race, and it's not this jaunt to the end finish line. And I feel like that is a resounding message over and over again, that we need to take our time, and we need to just really be present with letting it be a long journey, letting all of this that's happening, of where you're going, your life purpose. I feel like this is life purpose for everybody, and maybe you're not quite sure that it's life purpose, and maybe you don't even know what it is. Like you're like still waiting for it to like be revealed, right? And that's okay. Like everybody's at a different spot. So even with that, even with not knowing, just know that like it's going to be this slow paced type thing, and not that you're not going to be busy, because you will be, but it's not going to be like snap your fingers and things are done, or snap your fingers and all of a sudden, like for me, my book is released, right? Like that's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter if it's over 10 years or 1 year. So it's just doing the work and having the faith and enjoying it. Like really, like that's the biggest thing. And like for me, so what was really cool about the end of 2019 for me, even though it was really hard to like sit back and not do my work and not do my writing, was that I got to feel the absence of my writing, and I got to feel what it's like to not do that daily, right? And what I was so like surprised by was how much I really enjoyed writing, because without like knowing, or like without having that stopping point, I wouldn't have ever really known. I would have been like, this is just what I do, right? This is just the feeling. But when you like lose something and when you don't have it anymore, I think that's when it gets kind of like when, you know, someone walks away from you, or like you lose a relationship, you kind of like feel like they're lost, and you feel how important they are. And so that to me is really, really important. So if you have like something that you're working towards, or you just know like, okay, like my calling is coming, like I can just feel it, right? Then also the absence of it not being here at this moment, or you not knowing what it is, right? Like breathe into that for a minute and take that as part of your journey. So because with that absence, it makes the presence what it is. The presence of something is heightened by the absence. And I think that's really powerful. And I feel like that's what the end of 2019 really showed me. It was like one of the big things that I got from like them telling me like, just stop writing and stop doing all of those things that you do. And it just made me realize how like incredibly lucky I was, and how much I enjoy it, and how much it fills me up, like just personally, you know, not necessarily as a mom, not necessarily as a wife, not necessarily as a friend, but as me, and like what I feel like I came to earth to do. And that'll be different for all of you guys, but I just think it's important to remember the blessing of the absence of stuff, because so many times we are just trying so hard to run towards things, and it's easy to like get lost in like just trying to get to our goals and to get to where we want to be, and having our mind focused on where we want to be, right? And I'm all for creation, and I'm all for us doing that, and like spending time with our desires, you know, before they have manifested. I'm all for that, but there's also like a really equal important part of just having it not be there, and like appreciating that you get to know when it's not there how important it really is, right? So with that, let me just like, because I've been like go this morning, let me think, let me just tune in kind of to see if there's anything else I'm supposed to share with you. I feel like that was like the main message, but I feel like guilt is coming up. So guilt is really, it's hard because like I know that I've felt really guilty that I haven't been writing this end of 2019. I felt a lot of guilt, and then I felt like guilt, like it's just kind of like trickled into other areas, like, okay. And because when I was writing, I was feeling guilty that I wasn't spending as much time with my family or my kids, because I really blocked out a lot of time to like get my book finished. And I think that it overtook me in a way where it was like, no matter what I was doing, I was feeling guilty about something. So if I was writing and working and spending time with my kids and my family, I was feeling guilty that I didn't have enough time for like enough time for my kids and my family. Like I was spending, you know, it was dividing. And then if I wasn't, and I was spending all my time with my kids like I thought, right, I was feeling guilty that I wasn't living my life purpose, and that I wasn't writing, and that I wasn't, you know, putting myself to good use and all that stuff. The angels were in my ear being like, stop, sit down. So it made the guilt a little less, right? And it made me like, I'm just listening to you. So I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm listening and I'm just taking orders, right? Like that's kind of what it felt like. But because I just knew in my heart that there was a purpose that I wasn't getting when I was not writing. I could just hear their message. So anyways, but so that guilt is really important to know that, like, stop feeling the guilt of whatever it is, because in your heart, you're going to know what's right. And when you are doing something that you feel like is your purpose, your passion, lights you up, lights your passion up from under you, and your family thrives from that, and your people around you are going to benefit from you being the best you. So just know that curb that guilt, okay? Curb that desire to want to feel like you need to be, you know, 100% in every area, because I'm going to tell you, you can't be 100% in every area. It's not possible. That's not what we came down to earth to do. It's just not going to happen here. And there's no reason that we need to sit around feeling these lower end energies and lower end emotions about something that isn't possible. That's not going to happen on earth, okay? And everybody benefits from when you thrive and when you feel good. So it's kind of like that thing that they say on the airplane to everybody when they're like, hey, you know, if we start to go down and your face mask drops, I need you to put yours on first before you help anybody else. Because if you're trying to help someone else and then you don't have enough air, you're going to pass out and you're going to die and they're going to die. So that's exactly what this whole, I feel like this whole guilt thing is like, curb the guilt by knowing that you have to take care of yourself. You have to do what is best for you, because when you do what's best for you, you're going to, it's automatically going to be what's best for everybody else. And that's just how this thing works, you know? Like we don't go into this world, and before we get here say like, oh, I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna take care of everyone else, and everyone is gonna be dependent on me, and they're not gonna be a good creator, and I'm gonna be such a good creator that I'm just going to lift everybody up, and everybody else is gonna be helpless, and I am gonna be the savior. Bullshit. That's not it. That's not what's happening. That's not what you're saying at all. In fact, you're saying the complete opposite before you get here. You're saying, I'm going to be the best me. I'm going to be the best creator I can, and everybody else is going to flourish being the best them, taking care of themselves. Okay? So just know that. And yeah. So I feel like that's the message. So recap, remember that this next year, like the energy and all this, I just got something else too, so I'm gonna say it. I feel like a lot of people are experiencing right now, I feel like they're experiencing a lot of like kind of like they don't even, it's not even like depressive feelings, but it's like they don't even know, like they're just not super psyched, they're not super like, there's not a lot of like great feelings, right? And it's kind of like there's just like kind of sprinkles of like little things that are uncomfortable, like that have happened this last week, right? Just little like hints of it, and it's almost kind of like I feel like that it's like the last push out of all those things that really didn't serve us, right? That we all did the work on. Where's my eyeliner? That we all did the work on this last, when we got rid of it in the last full moon. And I just feel like that was kind of like the last thing for everybody to just release and be done with. And so I think that people are kind of right now sitting here, and some of them are like, what the hell? Like, this is the new moon and I don't even feel good. Like, I kind of feel like I don't even know where this emotion's coming from. I just kind of feel like blah. I want you to know that that's okay. And I feel like that's kind of expected. Like, I feel like this is where we're at in this last shift of this last session for the 35-year period. And I feel like you're going to experience that. So don't be down. Don't feel guilty. Don't be down on yourself if you're feeling like that. Let it pass and release those things like when they're coming up. So like for me, it was like old habits with relationships where like on Christmas, I was like in the kitchen and I was cooking and everybody else was just sitting having fun. And like, I was like thinking to myself, like, what the heck? Like, I'm back in the situation where I'm working my butt off, you know, and everybody's just, you know, enjoying themselves, and I'm not even getting to be a part of things because I'm like taking care of everybody and, you know, blah, 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 right? So that was like my little hitch, right? That I used to do all the time, where I'd take care of everybody else before myself. I'd put everybody else above me, and thinking that was the way to love everybody. And then I would just suffer by not having a good time because I was always like having to like care for everyone. And so that was my message. Like, it was like a hint of it like coming up for me again. And I was like in that circumstance, and I was like, you know what? This isn't real. This is something I've created, and then this is something that doesn't feel good to me, and I'm not going to put my energy into it. So you know what I did in that moment? I started to think of like all the things that were like positive, and I looked around and I saw my little boys, and they were riding their scooters and their bikes in the house that we had just bought for Christmas, and they're toddlers, so that's why they can ride them in the house, because they're little tiny things. And I was like, you know, and I have food, and I'm doing something that I love. I love to cook, and it's like you can count the blessings, you know, even in those really hard times. Shift that energy. That's how you shift that energy, you know. Everybody else around you can do whatever they want, and they can have whatever energy that they desire, right? But you can change yourself. You can change your perspective of it. And that doesn't mean that you need to turn your eyes away from really awful abuse or emotional abuse or things that are like really negative in your life. Like, if something is happening and it's obviously like kind of repeating itself, and you need to take a stand and walk away, then that's definitely do that. But also know that you don't need to put a lot of energy yourself into it and get really down on yourself and be awful and just sit in the present of the nasty feelings. You can say, this is not what I want to do. So, and one thing that I decided was I wasn't going to cook all these different side dishes because I was the only one cooking when there was a house full of adults that could have cooked with me. I was like, you know what, I'm going to cook the meat and I'm going to cook one side dish, and that's what we're going to have. And then I'm going to enjoy the evening. So it was like a really good compromise, right? So that in itself is beautiful. So find the positives in the moment and even afterwards. Like if you're thinking about it right now while you're watching me and you're like, oh yeah, on Christmas or yesterday I was feeling, bad about this situation, but look at all these blessings I had, and like at least I was in a cozy house, and and now I'm hearing this message and I feel enlightened and I feel positive that I do have so many things and my life is so abundant, and so find the abundance and really just be grateful and thankful for that abundance, and I feel like that's the message. So all right, well, I'm gonna leave you because this video has been really long, but just to recap, remember, don't give in to the guilt. Remember that you don't need to. And that it's going to be a slow-paced race. You're going to get to many wonderful, amazing places with you and your life purpose, but it's not going to be instantaneous. It's going to be this wonderful thing where it's over time, and it's going to be a lot of beautiful creations all together. Okay? And to find the beauty in this energy that's shifting out for the end of the year. Find the beauty and release all those things that aren't serving you, even if they're coming up right now. Okay? Well, I'm just so glad that you got ready with me, and I'm so glad that I could share this message with you. So thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.